Welcome back to Politics for Teens. I'm Richard Sterling. Today we're going to be talking about something that happened last month. It took place really on September 7th was when this got coverage in the media, but it's relevant today and the story really has continued on since its initial coverage last month. So we're going to cover that today and talk about the significance of what's happening in New Mexico, how it relates to us, and sort of some of the misconceptions going around the media. We, as Politics for Teens, are going to try to approach this with a nonpartisan perspective. So, as I mentioned, September 7th, last month, Democrat Governor of New Mexico, Michelle Grisham, she pronounced an emergency order, an executive order, banning guns in Albuquerque. So, this order went up in September 7th, and it was for 1 month. We're going to watch her. We have a clip here of her talking about constitutional rights and her powers as governor, so let's watch that.
I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time. I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute.
So there's her saying that no constitutional right is absolute. And so obviously we're going to unpack that, and we're going to talk about what's right about that and what's wrong about that. But before we do, I want to give you guys a little bit of background into what's happened and some of the continuing events that have unfolded. So on September 16th, Governor Grisham actually narrowed the ban to playgrounds and parks only. And then she dropped that, and so it reverted back to its original form, and it was set to expire on November 3rd. Now, the United States District Judge for the District of New Mexico, David Uris, actually blocked her order. He issued a temporary restraining order on her executive order and it was pushing it until October 3rd. October 3rd, a few days ago, he pushed that forward again, extended the hold on the order, and he's considering blocking this executive order indefinitely. So there's still some politics going on with New Mexico and Albuquerque and if you can carry a gun and whatnot. But we're going to talk about what pretty much every media site talked about when this happened, which is constitutional rights and if they are absolute. So I have my copy of the Constitution here, and it's been well read. The Bill of Rights is a part of the Constitution, but it was added later. So basically, she is correct in saying that constitutional rights are not absolute in a sense, probably not the sense that she believes, though. So the Constitution was crafted in a way by the Founding Fathers that they foresaw certain things would arise that they wouldn't foresee. And so they made a way for us to be able to amend, change the Constitution, and take things out and add things on that could help in circumstances that they were not able to see. For example, that came in handy when we finally got rid of slavery in America. So in that sense, the Constitution is up for change according to our political system, and you have to go through a very strict and hard process in order to amend it, in order to make sure that the integrity of the Constitution is upheld. With that being said, the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms, of course, is an amendment. It is a part of the Bill of Rights, which was added a year or two after the Constitution was ratified and was created and accepted. And that itself the Bill of Rights was a new part of the Constitution. So even the Bill of Rights existing in and of itself goes to show that the Constitution can be changed and crafted in order to better serve America as its rule of the land. With that being said, the Constitution is the rule of the land, and its power is over that of governors, of the president, of military officers. The Constitution is not something that's just there as a guideline to the governor of New Mexico, who then says, okay, well, it's not absolute for me to go with it. I can kind of do what I want. And that's where I think this judge here has stepped in and said, no, that's not how the Constitution works, clearly. Now, one thing that does need to get talked about here that isn't necessarily brought up a lot is the idea of human rights. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence seem to make it very clear that these rights that we're given are not given to us by the government or by each other or by democracy. They're something that we have inherently as human beings. Therefore, they are absolute in that mindset, and they can't be taken away by the government or a governor of a state or even the president or a regime. They are human rights that belong to us, and they are absolute. Now, that is a case that's being made, that would seem to be being made by the Declaration and the Constitution, that we as human beings have these rights. That isn't necessarily talked about a whole lot today, but it's something that is worth bringing up and worth talking about because it does make a difference in how we approach this issue. How you view the rights that are in the Constitution will dictate how you govern your citizens and will dictate how you treat those rights that are in the Constitution. All right, so today we talked about the events happening in New Mexico. We talked about the Constitution and if it's absolute. We talked about the Bill of Rights, and we also talked about human rights and what they have to do with us today in our political landscape. Let us know down below if you think Governor Grisham was fully inside her constitutional authority or if she outstepped her bounds and she was going too far with her order. Thank you so much for watching that video. Please subscribe to the Politics for Teens channel so that we can continue to make you fresh and engaging content.